Also, thank you all for joining us tonight. I am very glad to be here, and I'm super excited to introduce you to Chip Huggins. Charles Chip Huggins is the president and CEO of Hope Services. When Chip joined Hope in July of 2018, he brought with him a trove of business development and management experience from his 45-year career leading in both nonprofit and for-profit sectors. He also brought a deep connection to Hope's mission, having previously worked with other nonprofits serving people with developmental disabilities. Chip received a JD from John F. Kennedy University and an MBA from Stanford. He's a longtime resident of the Bay Area and has served his community for over 40 years, holding board leadership roles in nonprofit organizations such as Peninsula Community Foundation, Boys and Girls Club, Coyote Point Museum Guardsmen, Portola Valley School Foundation, Silicon Valley Community Foundation, Easter Seals Society, and more. Welcome, Chip.
Thanks, Dana, for having me.
Fantastic. We're so happy to have you here. So the format tonight, to start with, is question and answer, and then we'll follow that by taking your questions as placed in the Q&A. So I'm going to go ahead and get started by asking Chip to tell us a bit more about Hope Services. I know Hope does an awful lot of things for an awful lot of folks.
Thanks, Dana. We're celebrating our 70th year this year in 2022. And, we provide a variety of programs for people with disabilities, all ages. We currently serve about 3,600 individuals, clients across 8 different Bay Area counties. Our mission is to promote a common understanding that the world is a better place with people with disabilities are fully integrated and accepted in all aspects of our culture and community. Our primary goal in all that we do is to improve the quality of life for the individuals we serve. Our 8 indicators of this are personal development, self-determination, interpersonal relations, social inclusion, rights, emotional well-being, physical well-being, material well-being. We have a dedicated staff who develop personalized plans for each of our clients to help them be successful. Hope Services, as I mentioned, is celebrating its 70th anniversary this year. We were founded in 1952 by a group of concerned parents who chartered a school dedicated to quality education and resources for their children. We've since grown into a well-established, thriving organization with a broad spectrum of valuable services. So some of the programs that we have, Hope Services has programs serving clients at all stages of life. Our Home Start program provides early intervention services for infants and toddlers. The program works with children who have or at risk of having a developmental delay, and to help them reach their full potential. We support families building new skills to aid in their children's development, their child's development. We offer day programs like EMCC, which is an integrated program to our clients. And that's employment, media, community connections. This program provides media technology, training, employment, support, and community-based activities. And our director who designed and developed this program, Kathy Bouchard, is with us tonight, I believe. Our supported employment program is specifically focused on securing sustainable employment opportunities for our clients. The program offers comprehensive services, including skill development, internships, job placement, and on-the-job coaching. We also provide independent and supported living services to support individuals or adults living in their own homes with personalized care depending on their choice or need. And our behavioral health program is one of our largest and served 2,000 people last year, providing counseling, case management, and psychiatric services to those with a qualifying mental health diagnosis and DD disability. Lastly, we offer a variety of opportunities for seniors to stay active and to experience an array of retirement alternatives. And we have senior programs in San Jose and Aptos, which provide participants the opportunity to interact, socialize, and enjoy educational, recreational activities within our communities on site. Regards to employment services, obtaining a real work for real pay is the most desired outcome for individuals with disabilities. But Hope Services offers a variety of options for our clients in different places on their employment journey. Our EMCC program assists with career development, job clubs, job site visits, and provides paid work opportunities. They also provide alternatives to typical employment that still empower individuals to use their skills and passion. A sub-program of EMCC is Hope Studio, a craft center where clients have learned the skill of weaving on looms to create scarves, table runners, tote bags, and more. They are able to sell these items for a profit at craft fairs. Our community employment program supports participants in achieving their career goals by helping to place them in a job and providing personalized support. Project Search is another employment-based program. It's a unique business-led one-year internship that takes place entirely at the host business site. Clients experience total workplace immersion and with a combination of classroom instruction, career exploration, and relevant job skills training, with the end goal being integrated employment for graduates. We have Project Search at the Kaiser Hospital in San Jose and Stanford Hospital in Stanford. So we'll go to the next question, I think.
Okay, well, I guess I mean, I'm amazed at how many different areas Hope is involved in. That's amazing. I'm just wondering in the employment area if I know the statistics are pretty dismal in terms of high unemployment rate among this population. But how would I go about getting started? How would I know what program might be right for me?
Department of Rehab, go to that department and they'll do an assessment and refer the individual to Hope Services or another service provider. Over a period of time, 6-9 months after that funding's out, the regional center will pick it up and will continue to funding the program. The individual, the coach. So.
Great. So start with the Department of Rehabilitation.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I mean, how about some examples of I don't know, success stories, or I love to hear about how people have managed to use those resources and get a great result.
Mm-hmm. And we have many great examples of that, Dana, and we'll go to a couple a little bit later in the slide deck. But we have this individual here who unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago. But he had a great job at Whole Foods, and he had a job coach, and very integrated into working there, and actually worked himself up to a cashier. So started as a bagger and then learned all the different jobs around being a cashier, and then eventually became a head cashier. So we're very proud of that. We work,
Wow, that's
we work with
fantastic.
we work with different corporations to engage with them and to work with our clients to make sure that their positions in these corporations are good fits for them, our individuals, our clients. And so normally it's a win-win, and we work with both the client and the company that they're working for.
So what are some of the corporations that, engage in this process?
Mhm. So we have a group at J. Laura Winery. I noticed you were drinking a little wine there or something, but
Yeah.
yeah. So they engage with a group of our clients. I think there's 7 there, and then there's some long-term clients over 20 years, and so the relationship has been terrific. There are some other. There is a bike company that we work with. There's a group there. You read about Dominic a little bit later. He's been there for 25 years. He's 70 years old and loves his job. And I think it's really important to call out the importance of having employment for our clients and what it means to them to come home and say, I had a great day at work. I'm worth something. I'm included in this society. And I have a really kind of a fun story. I've been blessed to be able to work different areas. I started in chocolate, and one of my last jobs in chocolate was running the San Francisco Chocolate Company, and it was owned by the California Autism Foundation in Oakland. And we would have our clients come in and work in the chocolate company, and they would go home with a smile on their face, with some money in their pocket, and a bag of chocolate. And they would tell their friends and be so proud, and meant so much to them, and it meant so much to us as an organization to provide that. And so I know that experience for me brought a couple things together, which chocolate and giving back, right? So that's what social enterprises are all about.
Yeah, that's fantastic. What's some other examples, I guess, of successful placements?
Well, we have many we can talk about. We have placements at Google, at Microsoft, at Facebook, throughout the Valley. And obviously some of those have been impacted by COVID because people are working at home. So the need to have cafeterias open now is a little bit less. But I think, those people are being placed in different positions, like retail is still strong. And we're hiring, we have clients in our thrift stores. We have 3 thrift stores, and we have both independent and also EMCC groups coming in to work the thrift stores. In fact, our assistant manager at the Willow Glen store is a client, and he came from the Project Search program. He worked at Kaiser. He was trying to find what job really turned him on and really drove him. And he tried different things. And then he said, well, I want to be a medical assistant. I want to work in a medical office. That he wasn't sure about that. And so he came to the thrift store because we said, you're so great with people. You love to interact and you're really good at it. Come to the thrift store, interact people, all of our customers. So he's done a great job, and he's gotten promoted over the last couple of years, and he's a slide a little bit later.
Well, fantastic. Yeah, I'm familiar with the Willow Glen store, living here in Willow Glen. How did COVID impact your operations there?
We've had to shut down during certain periods of time. We've had a lot of restrictions like others have had in retail. Sometimes we've had to shut the store down for several days and so on. But we had a great year this past year, and continue to get great donations. For those of you bringing in donations, thank you so much. And we continue to thrive.
Oh, that's great. Let's let's move along. I'm dying to hear some of these other stories.
Oh, here he is. I was just talking about Krishna. Krishna, you can read his story. He's now a supervisor. He started at the bottom, and his passion of working with customers and the interface is remarkable. Go in and say hi to him, and he will tell you his story. And remarkable individual, and we're so proud to have him on staff and be a leader in that store. So
That's fantastic. He certainly got that smile going.
yeah, he does. You know, I worked in retail for a number of years at See's Candies, and we would hire a lot of old ladies to work behind the counters. They all looked the same basically, and if we had Krishna, I think we'd sell probably double the amount of See's candy that we did for. He's remarkable. So go in and say hi and congratulate him. Really.
Which store does he work in?
Willa Glen.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah. Okay. And there's one more slide, I think, of Dominic. So Dominic works down at the bike operation in Morgan Hill, and specialized bikes. And he's been working there for 25 years. Specialized is a great high quality manufacturer of racing bikes and different bikes. And we have a great relationship with them. Over the years, we've placed a group, I think around 10 to 12 different individuals over a period of time. But it's, getting these relationships established and maintaining it, making sure it's a win-win, right? They've been remarkable, and as others have too.
That's fantastic. I'm a real fan of specialized bikes, and I had no idea that Dominic was probably working on it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. We should all be happy of a 25-year career and all that goes with it.
Yeah.
It kind of brings up the whole notion of mental health. This is relatively new for Hope, isn't it? Offering mental health services, and how is that happened? I even heard, I think that you have expanded into San Mateo County.
We just opened, we're going to be opening a counseling center there in San Mateo in September. And we actually just had a press conference with Congresswoman Jackie Spear last Monday to receive a large check to help fund that. And there's a lot of need in San Mateo County that's not being met. And so we're responding to that. We have a Half Moon Bay office already, but that's mainly focused on our EMCC program and our DDI. But we've been around about 22 years providing mental health services to our clients, and very unique because it takes a specialized training for our clinicians to recognize how the DDI clients respond to different therapies versus a mental health condition. And so that training is critical and doesn't come easy. It takes a lot of experience. And so we're one of the few providers in Northern California that does that dual diagnosis, so we call it. So,
Well, fantastic. Have you seen a kind of an uptick in the need for that kind of service? I mean, we hear a lot about how, COVID and being locked down has, had a negative impact on a lot of folks. What have you seen?
it definitely has. In 2019, this before COVID, our contract with the county doubled in size. And so it is now 12 million in revenue, and there's a wait list, and we're trying to respond to that wait list by adding more clinicians. There's huge demand because of the anxiety around COVID about many things that are happening in our world today: wars, recession, homelessness, and all that impacts everyone, right? So especially our clients, I think. So we've increased that substantially, and so hopefully to respond to the need, and we continue to grow a number of programs and offices to meet that need.
So, you know, what's the process if I thought I needed that kind of a service? How would I go about finding out if it's right for me?
So you could go through the regional center and they could give you a referral, or go through the county, either way, to get to us. And there's different vehicles on that. If you reach out to us on our website, www.hopeservices.org, there's a place to, information there you can resource.
Fantastic. I think that's the end of the formal questions. Thank you so much, Chip. And I think we'll turn this back over to Brittany, and we'll see what kinds of great questions you all have in the audience.
Thanks, Dana.
Sure. Yeah. So, well, thank you both for that awesome discussion. We certainly learned a lot about Hope Services. Yeah. So like Dana said, we'll go ahead and move on to the Q&A portion. So if you have any questions, and if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and use that Q&A feature at the bottom of your screen to input some questions. We do have a couple more questions, Chip, some questions that came in. What do individuals take away from your programs, or what does Hope Services hope that individuals take away?
I think they'll take away, it's a family atmosphere. We have so many staff members that have been here for so long, and Kathy Bouchard is on tonight, and she's been here for over 45 years. She's semi-retired, but still very much dedicated to our programs. And we have other staff who've been here over 25, 30, 35 years. And I think that's a reflection of the culture that we have. We're all family, and our clients are a part of that family. And so when there's something going wrong, we are part of that, what's going wrong, and we want to get it fixed. So I think we saw that during the COVID, especially the first several months, when the family needed groceries, we took care of it. When the family need different things, taken to the medical appointment, whatever it might be, we responded. Our staff stepped up and responded to those needs of our clients. And so I think that's the number one thing that they would take away.
Great, awesome. And I mean, you kind of touched on it in your examples, but how else have you seen the lives of individuals with intellectual or developmental disabilities change when they're given the opportunity to work?
I think the whole feeling and presentation of the individual, if you walk into our headquarters at Las Colinas and talk to one of our wonderful, outstanding receptionists, they glow. They glow because they love their work. They love meeting people every day and telling their stories. And they're a lot about what we do. And so I think that's a great example of what we do every day and day. And the COVID really impacted them, like a lot more than anyone else, because they couldn't come to work. They couldn't come to work and interface with their friends, with the other staff, with the leadership, and other clients. And so the interpersonal interaction is so critical for all of us, but especially our clients.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. Like I said earlier, you did share those stories, those great success stories with us. Are there any memorable moments that your clients have shared with you about the opportunities that Hope Services has provided them with?
I think Krishna, I mean, I go to the stores a lot because I oversee them. And Krishna pulled me aside on I don't know, a couple months ago when I was visiting the Little Glen store and thanked me. I said, why are you thanking me? You did the hard work. And he says, I love my work. I dream about coming to work every day. I dream about coming to work every day. Who dreams about coming to work every day? Well, he does. And it's so important to his life and his well-being. So, I mean, hopefully he's a employee for life. He's a huge ambassador for us and he loves what he does. And so I think that tells part of our story right there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, hopefully we all come to work smiling every day, right? but yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I worked for Warren Buffett for 28 years and he says, I want you to whistle to work every day. And I said, well, I'll try, Warren, but you're part of that too. So
Definitely. I'm not sure, I can't remember if you touched on this earlier, but what programs are available specifically for different age groups at Hope Services?
So I mentioned the Home Start program. That's early age from 0 to 5. And then mental health services starts at around 5 until 85, so the full spectrum. Project Search is 18 and over. So again, that's interns going into such a hospital or companies to figure out what they like to do. The EMCCs for age groups 18 and over. Community employment starts at 18 and over. Community living is 18 and over. Other day programs are 18 and over usually. And senior services are 45 and over. So.
I got it. Awesome. Yeah, you certainly do have a lot of different services that provide multiple different age groups. We have a question from the audience kind of asking what's most important about people with developmental disabilities learning skills at work, and why is that so important for them?
Well, I think the interaction is a huge for them in regards to being able to interact with different types of people and getting the respect as they deserve. So it's all about, right? We talked about inclusion in the beginning and having them included in the community and make them feel they're not outcast, because they're not. They're all like us. Everyone's the same. It's all about inclusion and getting them integrated so they can go to work every day and feel appreciated and loved like everyone else. So.
Yeah, definitely. Of course. We have another question coming in. How have job opportunities improved the behaviors of people with IDD?
That's a great question because, some of our clients have slight behavioral concerns or issues, and those can be helped with the interaction and being in the community, working with the public. And isolation does some terrible things to all of us, especially our clients. And I think the interaction and being in the public and included as everyone else helps deal with that issue in particular. And with our behavioral health division that does co-occurring services, we can address some of those needs too. Sometimes people are just misdiagnosed, and we can try to correct those misdiagnoses. But I think being in the community and having an employment relationship that is meaningful to that individual, and that's was really quite critical, is making sure that the fit is good for them and the employer's happy. There's nothing better than having a happy employer saying, well done, job well done. Thank you for your efforts and your hard work.
Yeah, certainly. I think we all like hearing praise from our employers, right? You were talking a little bit earlier about the different corporations that you've partnered with to provide employment. How do you find those corporations, and how would someone go about working with you as a corporation to provide employment?
So we have a job developer that goes out and starts the communication. And so that job developer creates that first relationship. And then we give those companies examples, success stories that we talked about tonight, specialty bike. And we can talk about that in the long-term relationship that we've established. And it's a win-win. And we, specialty bike love step forward and say, Hope Services done such a terrific job with working with us, and nothing better than having those type of statements from current employers. Jay Lore just did a video for us about the long-term relationship that we've had with them and the wonderful, clients that we've had there working for so long. And so those things are really important in regards to, working and developing new relationships.
Great, yeah.
Dana didn't like that answer, apparently. I'm not sure.
Just a little growling in the background from me.
You also kind of briefly touched on group placement rather than individual placement. Could you talk a bit more about the group placement that's offered for employment?
So part of the process of the assessment of the job itself, when we talk to employers, talk to companies, we do an assessment of what's required. And, is it an individual placement? Can one person do it with a job coach? Or is it a group related type of employment or relationship? So that happens at early stages. And then the job developer comes up with a program, basically, and then presents it to the employer. And then the next step would be finding individuals that fit that criteria. That would be a win-win for both the employer and also our clients. And then once it starts, then we provide support services too with a job coach.
Great. And then I had a question for you actually. How would we go about getting employment opportunities for LSA residents?
Same process. You can go through Department of Rehabilitation, DOR, or usually they like to be the starting point, and then eventually you go to the regional center.
Okay, great. And for all of your employment opportunities, do individuals, they need to be over 18?
Yes.
Okay. Dana, can you talk a little bit about how we might employ IDD individuals?
Well, I guess a couple of things. We have created a number of jobs over the years and internally to LSA that are filled by residents. Ronnie is probably our poster boy of he's what we call a community inclusion coach. And on weekends, he goes over and works at our Rivermark homes and goes out into the community with, one or two of the residents to do a, specific thing in the community. And he loves that job. He looks forward to it. And it for all the reasons that Chip mentions, he felt valued. Well, we could have hired, somebody for that job, but we felt that it was a priority to create those kind of jobs wherever we could. Mm-hmm. We've also had administrative staff in Rivermark for many of the years. Currently, the woman who was doing that, got to a point where she felt like she was ready to retire, and so We don't have anybody there now. Our community inclusion program is essentially an employment program because it tackles voluntary employment in that groups of 3 typically go out and work at another nonprofit doing tasks that are meaningful to the nonprofit and to them. And kind of along the lines of what Chip said, we've certainly realized that that there's added value in working with a group. And whether it's in, it's your own work in an office or your work, at another site, the fact that you can be part of a team, adds another whole layer of satisfaction. And so, we're always looking out for an opportunity to create a job that could be filled from someone from our community. I'm totally grateful to all that Hope does to create those kinds of jobs and to allow people to learn the skills that they need to perform them, to essentially get themselves into a place where they can get that kind of satisfaction out of going to work every day. And those stories were of course great. It's great to hear anyone who is feeling valued and enjoys their work. It's certainly a blessing.
Most definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Could you both maybe touch on what the value is in having community support for individuals with an intellectual or developmental disability?
I guess I could go first. I kind of come at it from, being a dad of someone with an intellectual disability. And so I kind of come at it from, the angle that it's the right thing to do, to include, all in our community. And but I think if I looked at it strictly from a value standpoint, to those in the community, they will get value from getting to know and being involved with others. And I think it's all about getting out of your own lane. And you never know what you're going to find out there and how it will make your life better, as well as possibly the life of someone else. So I just think it's something that is really, really important, and that people, will experience value from doing it. And I know it's easy in these times to, just to stay in your lane, but there's value out there.
Most definitely. I think getting people educated is a big part of what we do. We have a wonderful director of marketing and marketing team that gets the word out, that really tells our stories of the impact of our clients and the impact of our work. And, the stories are such that you have to wake up and realize these people are like us. They're we're all the same, and they need to be included in what we do day in and day out, because they're doing the work. They're going to work, they're doing the retail, they're doing a lot of different jobs that everyone else is doing. So we've got to include them. And it just takes time. I mean, it's part of the unfortunate stigma around people with disabilities, whether it's mental health, or it's a DDI, or whatever it might be. stigma is terrible, but it's getting better. I think it's getting better, especially in the mental health arena. Um, and I've had my family have had to live with stigma for a long, long time, and it's something where you want people who are prominent to acknowledge it, to say, that it's there, but also everyone can get help. Everyone should get help that needs it, and get rid of the stigma. We're all the
Mhm.
same. So my grandfather committed suicide at a very young age, and my family's had to live with that stigma. And we talk about it openly. Because if you don't normalize it, people are going to live with that stigma and not get the services they need. So,
Well said, Chip.
Great. Well, we're almost done with this evening, so if you haven't sent in any questions you have, be sure to do that. We do have a few more questions though in the chat from the audience. You mentioned, one of your success stories, how someone became, I believe they started as a bagger and worked their way to a cashier. How often do you see that kind of success? And are there any other success stories similar to that that you'd like to share?
well, I think there are many. I think I mentioned our thrift store supervisor there, and also the fellow that Patrick, who got promoted at Whole Foods, right? So Whole Foods is a remarkable store and company, and they recognize the value and the need of our clients, and there's many more. I can create a list for you if you're interested, but I would go to our website and download some of the stories that we've had. The marketing team's done a remarkable job on getting these stories out there, and there's so many. And I'm so proud of this organization. I'm actually so honored to be associated in the CEO of this organization. We're celebrating our 70th years, and I've only been there for 4 years, and all this work that's been done before me, and so I'm very blessed I whistle to work every day, Dana. So as you probably do too. So
Yeah, we're pretty excited. We're young by those standards, but LSA is celebrating its 20th year.
good for you.
And feeling pretty proud of what we've accomplished, but then we look at all that's left to do, and it's quite humbling. Chip, I was just thinking to myself, what can people do in the audience to help Hope Services, and how can they get in touch with you and your team if they have follow-on questions?
Yeah, you can always reach out to me. My email address is here. You can send me a note. We just had our 4th annual In Concert with Hope on July 23rd. And, part of that program is talking about stigmas around mental health, stigmas about disabilities. And we recruit artists to not only play, but also talk about how they overcome their stigmas. And so, that's one thing. And then, if you want to help out, go to the thrift store. You can buy something, or if you want to volunteer, by all means, volunteer. In Willow Glen, ask for Sean Bailey. Sean Bailey is the manager there, and be happy to show you around and see how we can help you. But
Yeah, maybe you could even beat inflation a bit.
We've got some bargains there. I mean, we found something, a little pot, Tiffany pot, that was worth $4,000, and someone picked it up for a couple dollars. You find treasures there all the time, and it's amazing. But yeah, those are the things you can do to help Hope Services, and go online and get on the newsletter if you're interested in keeping up with what we're doing. And there's a place for that. So yeah, so we're moving forward. We're growing, and we've grown to 8 counties now. And as I mentioned to you, we opened counseling center, or be opening a counseling center in September in San Mateo. And so we are growing. So
Awesome. That's great to hear. And before we finish the evening, we do have just a couple more questions from the audience for you. Someone would like to know how individuals are trained once they find that that employment opportunity. Is there any training provided by Hope Services, or are they just trained by the employer?
So depending on the assessment of the individual, we may provide a job coach to assist their training and support them, especially for the first several weeks until they feel that they have the job, pinned down and can do the job. So that's basically it. So it's employer and job coach combination.
Awesome. And then to kind of switch gears a little bit, you both had talked a little bit about mental health. What's kind of like your quick take on how we can break the stigma against those with mental health illnesses and developmental disabilities?
It's getting prominent people to talk about it. And I think it's really, I started with, I asked Warren to do it. His family has mental health conditions, and he publicly came out in 2011 and talked about it. And when people like that, you normalize it. So it's not so bad. It's okay to get help. So I think that's critical. And we did in concert with Hope series around that, talking, openly discussing and normalizing, breaking down that stigma barrier. And music is obviously therapeutic, right? So we all know that. And we had Tower of Power play for us on July 23rd to 1,200 people at Developmental, and it was a great event. And anyways, it's something I very much think is important to our population is music.
Yeah, we were fortunate to have Cody Lee, at our event,
Oh,
and
great.
yeah, he just gets better and better. He did such a fantastic job, and yeah, I agree. I mean, music is such a common denominator, and it brings people together in so many different ways.
Mhm.
Great, yeah. Dana, what are your thoughts on how we can break the stigma against those with mental health illnesses and developmental disabilities?
Well, I think I totally agree with what Chip said. Is prominent people talking about it, in a way that does not depict it as a stigma, but is rather just a part of life, and dealing with things that are dealt. We've tried to get people together, it's a small step, but community inclusion art program where we got our residents together with students and community volunteers to work on art projects together, and we hoped, and I think it came true, that by working together, these individuals would get a better appreciation for each other, and that would of course get to enjoy the art that they created together, and I think that was in fact the case. I wish we could do more of it, and because I think once you get people together, it becomes a bit more organic. It's not forced.
Mhm.
And if they get to see firsthand. one story that I always think of is when we open a new house that, we often have some pushback from, the neighbors, the NIMBYs,
Yeah.
not in my backyard. And I remember this, one success story that we had. And this was before LSA, and it was a home in Morgan Hill, and all the neighbors were just, dead set against what we were doing, and they were lawyers, they were police officers, they were detectives, they were judges. I mean, they were people that, that should have known better. And we just had an open house, and they came with a frown on their face, and they met the residents, and they met, us, and they walked away with a smile on their face. And so sometimes it just takes, getting people together and letting them be just people.
Mhm.
So I wish we could do more of that.
Yeah, that's so important.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you both for being here this evening. And thank you everyone for all of your questions and for joining us this evening. As Chip just mentioned earlier, you can learn more about Hope Services. There will be a link in the chat soon. You can also contact Chip directly at his email on the screen. And you can, to help Hope Services, you can visit their thrift stores. Like Dana mentioned, there's one in Willow Glen that he visits pretty frequently. So again, thank you all for your questions. As always, keep in touch, and you can learn more about LSA as well at lsahomes.org. You can email us at our info email. And of course, please keep in touch with us on all of our social media. We do have a couple more webinars coming up throughout the summer. As part of our IDD Topics and Trends webinar series. We have a wonderful chat with Scott Mendel from Together for Choice coming up on August 16th. And we'll also be joined by Lawrence Fung later this summer on August 25th. And you can find the links to register for those upcoming webinars in the chat as well. And so thank you all for joining us this evening. We will see you next time.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Chip, for joining us tonight. It's a pleasure.
Thanks, Dana. It was fun.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.